Hey guys, so quick video. I want to touch on the inefficiencies of having big boards. A lot of people starting out, I myself did this. A lot of people starting out, they think they need a lot of advisors because they lack experience or the industry experience, finance, legal, whatever it is. They lack that experience, and a lot of people are just being told that they need a really big team to be able to pull off their first, second, or third acquisition. That's not the case. Now, from experience, I can tell you that you need about 4 people. And on my board right now, there's only 3 people who sit on my board. Real quick, let me just break down the difference between what a board of directors is supposed to be and what a management team or deal team is supposed to be. And because a lot of people confuse the two. Your board of directors, they should only be people who have contributed to the company financially or has brought on resources to be able to help you either get deal flow or professionals, kind of like accounting firm, law firms, M&A firms, to be able to help you get closer to that closing a deal part, right? But it should only be people that you trust. And it should be people that you feel comfortable with them having an opinion that can change the trajectory of your company. That is what a board of directors is supposed to be. And it really should only be you and your investor, depending on the number of investors that you have. And I would advise that you only keep it to 1 to 2 investors max with your first acquisition. So your board of directors, if you have 2 investors and you're the sole member of your company, it should be you and 2 other investors. That's it. That is your board of directors. And then you have your management team, aka your deal team. And your deal team / management team, they are the people who is going to help you execute the deal, which means that when the deal comes in, what stage are you in and what are you supposed to be doing at that stage? For example, if you have an LOI that has been executed, your M&A director should be telling you, okay, this is what we need to do. We need these documents. We're going to send out this, and let's have a organizational chart to figure out who's going to be responsible for what, who's going to be contacting the banks, who's going to be contacting the accounting firms, law firms, who is in charge, ultimately who's responsible and who's going to be delegating and make sure that all of the parts of closing the deal comes together and the deal closes on time. Those people are your management team because they're going to be able to help oversee the management of the company that you acquire after you close. Those people do not have, their opinion does not dictate which way the company goes, whether it's left or right, up or down. That is the board of directors, which you as an owner and your investors are the only ones who are on that board. And oftentimes investors would say, hey, let's bring on another board member. But that's typically later on. And the reason why you want to keep your board small is because when your first investor comes on, he's going to say, who else have equity stake in the company? And if you go to saying, well, this guy, that guy, and that guy, and this guy, and this guy, the investor is not going to be comfortable with that. And in fact, you may find that the equity that you gave out really doesn't work for the investor, because once you look at your cap table and lay everything out and you see the dilution that occurs, the investor is not going to be happy with that. So typically, an investor is going to come on and he might say, well, no, these people don't really have equity. Or if they have equity, what have they contributed to it? Putting them on the spot and you on the spot. So you want to make sure that your board of directors, your actual board of directors are you and your investors and or business partners only. And then your management / deal team are the people who help execute the deal, close it, but they do not change the trajectory of the company with their opinions, right? They're more so advisors. So that is the very big difference between your board of directors and your deal team. And the main reason why I would advise against a big board is because traditionally people would get a chairman, a M&A director, they would have about 1 or 2 accountants, and then they would have legal, and then they would have about, 1, 2, 3 advisors, right? You're looking at 9 people. And if you give equity to all these 9 people, how much equity you yourself as a owner is going to be left with at the end of the day? And a lot of newbies, what they do is they don't take into account dilution when you're distributing equity amongst the members. And again, these things are some of the main things that you should be focused on when you first are thinking about buying your first business and bringing on an investor, which is why I do not advise, on having a big board, 8 or 12 people. I myself would prefer something a little bit smaller, a little bit more concentrated, but it's people who are highly responsive, right? Keep your board small, people who have contributed to the company, who could change the trajectory of the company, and then keep your management team small, with about 4 people as well. So that way, it's a lot easier when you're talking about equity distribution and you have the capital raise, because you're going to have more likely more than 1, 2, or 3 rounds of capital raising. So just keep that in mind when you are, contemplating creating a team and, bringing on people. Make sure you have a clear distinction of what the board of directors and what your deal team is. So with that being said, guys, that's my opinion on, having big boards and why they're inefficient. But one last thing I want to leave you with is having a big board, having multiple people like that, when it comes time to make a decision, if you value those people's opinion and you want their opinion, you want to make sure that everyone's on time. And managing 10 people to get, one thing done, it's not really the most efficient way. So just think about that when you want to get things done, when you want to move with speed, because my thing is I move really quickly, right? If I screw up, I can rectify it that much quicker as opposed to waiting. So you just want to think about these things. There's several more factors that goes into it, but ultimately you do not want to give up equity to people who are not going to be really contributing to the company and, helping the mission move forward. So that's my opinion, guys. Catch me later on the next video. Peace.